Rapids Kernels, let the good times roll.
Welcome to All Ears, the official podcast of the Cedar Rapids Kernels, presented by Miracle Ear. I'm your host and voice of the Kernels, Calvin Cristoforo. On the podcast, you'll hear from past and present Cedar Rapids baseball influencers, including players, managers, executives, insiders, and more.
Cedar Rapids Kernels, let the good times roll.
Season 3, Episode 5 of the Kernels All Ear Podcast, the Cedar Rapids Kernels All Ear Podcast, presented to you, as always, by Miracle Ear. We've had 4 really good episodes to this point in the season. If you missed our one last time out, it was with John Wilson and Johnny Wilson, a twin scout and a son of a twin scout who now pitches for the Cedar Rapids Kernels. Today, we have his battery mate, Noah Cardenas, joins the program. Noah, thanks so much for taking the time.
Oh, thanks for having me, Calvin. I appreciate it.
Kernels catcher Noah Cardenas joining the All Ears podcast. Noah, I just want to start with asking about your experience so far in Cedar Rapids. How is the season going? How is the team? How is the area?
First off, the area is just amazing. My host family, Jeremy and Rachel, have just been so cool and so welcoming to me, Kyler, and Charles. And they've just been amazing. The team, really good energy on the team. Really like the even blend of American guys with the Latin guys, and there's a good little blend where everyone kind of gets to communicate and stuff. So it's been really good, and so far this season, I mean, the weather was a little cold in the beginning, but now it's starting to heat up, and it's been a lot nicer on those night games for sure.
You mentioned that blend, and I feel like that's always an interesting question of how well all the teammates communicate with one another, because there's always a language barrier there. How difficult is that, and how have you guys, as a tight-knit group, like you said, have been able to overcome that?
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of guys like you got guys like Jose Salas, Marco Raya, who are kind of like guys who lived in the States for a long time now and kind of have both languages, definitely like are fluent in both languages. So it's a lot easier to communicate with guys and communicate through them. Especially during mound visits and stuff, you'll see like Jose Salas come out a lot because he's like my communicator. Like he's trying to help me, and that was kind of cool. That was kind of without me even saying anything. He comes out with the Latin guys and kind of just helps me communicate what I'm trying to say to them and kind of like pressure situations, what pitches we want to go to, or maybe just strategy for this next hitter.
So for you now, we'll get back to we'll go a little chronological here. We'll get back to this season, but let's go back to the beginning with you personally. Baseball wise, when you were younger, growing up, what really made you fall in love with the sport of baseball?
I just always loved it. I think it was my first sport that I was introduced to, and I just like fell in love with it off the bat. And I just remember watching Dodger games ever since I was little, because I grew up in California. Obviously Twins fan now, but like I remember that kind of like introduced me to baseball, and I just kind of ran from it from there. Played it ever since, and always been around it because both my brothers played, and so I was just kind of always around it and always kind of loved it.
Your brother works in baseball, doesn't he?
Yeah, my oldest brother is a strength coach with the Rangers, and then my middle brother plays with the Rays. So it's a good little blend for sure.
Cardenas family, a baseball family in Southern California, a place where you can play baseball year-round. What was that like? Were you playing baseball 24/7, 365 growing up? Because, from my experiences and people here in the local area, you can't play baseball, all the time in these snowy, cold climates. Were you doing that all year round back home?
Yeah, there were some years I was definitely doing that, but a lot until like junior high. I started playing just baseball, but I'll play like football some years too, and then 1 year basketball. But I usually just played baseball and football until junior high, and then junior high was like year round, like no stop baseball, and so that was kind of funny. But thankful that the weather permitted it, but I enjoyed it.
What was that like, though, focusing, 7th, 8th grade, we're talking here, on becoming, the best baseball player you can be? What was the workload like for you working, all year round, trying to, get to the place where you are right now?
I think honestly it helped a lot too, because at 7th, 8th grade is kind of when the fields start getting bigger and you kind of start identifying yourself, like what kind of prospect you're going to be at that point, like where your best chances in the future. Because when you play year round at that point, like in 7th and 8th grade, like it's more like developing yourself as a player. You're kind of playing these games that are like Sundays that like you're just throwing the ball out there. Nobody really cares who wins and loses. So it was kind of more of developing like, hey, what position are you going to play as you move on to high school, and just kind of adjusting to the field length and kind of understanding like, hey, I remember when the field grew a little bit bigger, I was like, hey, like my arm strength got to go up a lot because just the throws from anywhere were just a lot longer, and definitely power too. Just you can't really control like growing, but just probably getting in the weight room was kind of the biggest thing, just to kind of match the playing field with what field we were playing on at that point.
So you mentioned, hitting the gym, but what else did you try to do to make yourself improve at that, kind of stage where you had to get bigger and stronger to be able to compete more on this bigger diamond?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, just the Jager bands helped a lot. I remember me and my brother would be throwing around the football a lot, just because I remember like, I started like just primarily catching I would say in eighth grade, ninth grade, I would say, was when like I kind of didn't play any other position. So it's kind of like, hey, that throw down to second, like it's got skip on it, like, like couldn't make it on the fly. So it was kind of like, hey, honing in on that and kind of getting that arm strength up where I'm able to make it on a line down to second.
That area too, a baseball hotbed. I'm sure you played with a lot of very talented people. Could you just maybe share some names of guys that you played with or played against at that stage in your life who are now up and coming baseball players?
Yeah, I would say even at UCLA, someone asked me this question yesterday. My freshman year, played with Toglia, who's in the big leagues with the Rockies right now. Ryan Kreidler, who's a shortstop with the Tigers. There's a lot of guys. I'm trying to think now. I'm put on the spot. Matt McClain just debuted with the Reds. Let me think who else. I mean, just countless amount of guys. There was another one with the. Yeah, I mean that's what comes to my mind right off the bat. I hope I didn't miss anyone like. But, Garrett Mitchell as well. That was the last name. Garrett Mitchell with the Brewers too.
Cedar Rapids Kernels, let the good times roll. Hey, Kernels. Hey, Kernels.
Hearing is important to living life to the fullest. That's why inside every Miracle Ear store, you'll find better laughs at family barbecues. You'll find a better life is in store at Miracle Ear when you experience the Miracle Ear exclusive advantage. It starts with our free hearing assessment, plus innovative products that will fit your needs and budget. With free service and adjustments for life, call 319-243-7105 to schedule a free hearing evaluation and find a better life in store. Our local Miracle Ear team is proud to support the Cedar Rapids Kernels.
Group outings are a great way to unwind and enjoy a night out, and we invite you to reach out to our group sales staff and see all the options we have.
Everybody knows when you're at the game, the good times roll. Hey, Kernels, let the good times roll. Cedar Rapids Kernels, let the good times roll.
Calvin Cristoforos, Cedar Rapids Kernels catcher Noah Cardenas talking on the Kernels All Year podcast, Season 3, Episode 5, presented to you, as always, by Miracle Ear. Now let's transition into the high school playing days. I'm sure a very competitive high school league, team, division you guys are playing in down there in Southern California. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, that experience was really good. Like we talked about with kind of the guys who made the big leagues, like those are kind of guys that you grew up like playing against and just like kind of you knew really well, like especially that I ended up going to UCLA. Like I didn't commit to my senior year, but I remember playing against all those guys just at the local spots, like especially Orange County at the time had a lot of kids going places. And then in high school, I remember playing like my freshman year or my sophomore year was against Hunter Green. He was throwing a Friday night game at Notre Dame, and you just have really good arms throughout that high school experience. So it's good. It's definitely challenging and a lot of fun.
What was it like for you? Were you able to hop right in as a freshman and make an impact, or did you have to spend some time down in the lower sub-varsity levels before you made that hop up?
Yeah, no, I played JV my freshman year. My brother was a senior. My middle brother was a senior, so I really wanted to play varsity, but just at that time I wasn't there yet. And so I think I got called up maybe one game. And funny enough, my brother didn't make an error in center field. In the one game I got called up, I overthrew the second baseman, and my brother came in to handle it and he booted it. So he got his first high school error.
Big
So I
deal,
always give
big
him,
deal.
yeah, we always laugh about that. But yeah, I think only a couple games on varsity my freshman year.
Which is crazy to think about in like how deep these California high school baseball teams are.
Yeah,
Just from my experience, a completely different part of the country. But to have a
yeah,
guy who eventually becomes a D1 commit and a professional
yeah,
baseball player to not play varsity as a freshman is just crazy. But I'm sure your high school
yeah.
team is very, very talented from a
Mhm.
top to bottom standpoint at that point in time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a good team for sure. Just a lot of uh guys who knew their roles and kind of older guys, stronger, bigger. So I just had to take a back seat, I guess, at that time.
Now let's get to your recruitment process. I mean, you said you committed as a senior, but a lot of people commit very early. We see as early as
Yeah.
like eighth graders in high school, like freshmen commit in the sport of baseball. What was that recruiting process like for you? Because it seems like it was a long one. It went all the way down to the wire.
Yeah. I would say early on there wasn't much going on. Like my freshman, sophomore, junior year, uh wasn't much going on until my junior summer, going into my junior year, and that was kind of just a little bit like one visit that ended up coming up to nothing. So it really came down to going into my senior year, and it was kind of like colleges trying to fit their needs, like saying, "Hey, this our catcher's probably going to leave after this year. Is probably going to get drafted, so we're kind of late to the boat on this. We don't have a catcher in our class." So it was kind of those schools that were like still remaining. And so it was ended up being great. So my senior year went to a couple showcases, started talking to UCLA, really wanted to go there. And so it just ended up working out and it was just a perfect fit. And so they didn't have a catcher committed in my class, and they didn't really have like just an anchor behind the plate. And so that was the biggest draw for me, was the ability to go there and play right away. Because it's cool to commit somewhere, but it's also not as fun when you kind of go there and you kind of get lost in the shuffle and you're kind of just kind of taking a back seat to somebody and you kind of don't know how long that's going to last. So you want to the biggest draw for me definitely was kind of the opportunity to, hey, if you play well enough, you have the opportunity to play as a freshman. So I was just kind of like, all right, I'll take that challenge on myself and take my chances and bet on myself. So was able to go there, and that was awesome.
Were there any worrisome moments with that recruitment process coming down to the end? Were there any times where you're like, wow, I really need to, get a move on here because we're coming to a close? Were you worried at all, or did you always know that you were to find somewhere to go that would fit for you?
I would say I was definitely worried because I mean, I committed my first day of my senior year, and just like this age, this day and era of where you kind of see guys committing just so early, like on Twitter and stuff like that. Like, so I was just kind of like, that definitely deflated me. But, um, you know, like just thank God that there's an opportunity at that point in time, where those showcases, I just feel like I was meant to be at those showcases, and it worked out better than I could have planned it personally because, those first 3 years I really didn't grow into my body, and I just feel like my last year, arm strength was a lot better, and mostly definitely I think I committed because I was a good catcher, not because of anything like offensively, just because I don't think I was there yet. So it just worked out great.
You said you wanted to go to UCLA, but you grew up a USC fan. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah, no, it is. I've been slowly starting to fade that out to 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 not get that mixed up. But yeah, no, I grew up a hardcore USC fan, and USC was even the picture in the recruiting process. But um, I'll tell you what, it would have been close. But I know I still would have gone with UCLA just because of the resume of baseball and winning and stuff like that. So I have to put away what happens in the fall and the football season and just focus on the spring.
But I'm sure you've now transitioned to the other side of that rivalry, right? You're Bruins through and through.
Oh yeah, for sure. people around me sometimes question how that transition happened so quickly, but yeah, like when you're around the place and you just kind of know the people around it and care for the people around it, you kind of just get right into it.
So now let's move over from the college process to the draft process. I mean, what was that experience like for you leading up to the draft? Not necessarily being drafted, but what was the lead up like for you? I'm sure it was just the season, but did you ever have any idea you were going to get drafted? Did you have any ideas of, where or what or how?
Yeah, I definitely had an idea that I was going to get drafted. I would say didn't know kind of where. I would say kind of where I ended up was kind of I think appropriate for kind of how I had played in that season. But knowing the team, no, it was just I remember it was a really really nerve-wracking day. Having my like fiance there and just kind of waiting and like people ask me, is my phone working? I'm like, dude, yeah, like my phone's working. It's just nobody's calling right now. So it's definitely a day that I'll never forget for sure. But I'm just happy it ended up being the Twins. It's just such a great organization, but didn't really have an idea. There were a couple teams that called, and I think that there were a couple teams that were coming up on the clock that were going to pick me, but I'm happy that it ended up being the Twins.
So now let's go to draft day and ended up being the Twins.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that call like? And what was the couple days after, being officially drafted like?
Yeah, I would say the call was just amazing. I remember they called me, Coach Savage called me, and it was awesome. And just the whole Twins organization. As soon as I kind of got there, they just amazing. I don't want to jump too far ahead because I see we're going in order, but
Go ahead.
like
You go.
The Twins organization was just great and very very vocal about how they were excited to pick me, and obviously that feels good. And so I was just excited at that point to get to Fort Myers, sign the paperwork, and then just kind of get ready to play.
So you went with the Twins, you signed with the Twins, and now it's your professional baseball player. Yeah, last year we can skip all the way to there. That was a very good year for you and the team down in Fort Myers. What was the like, from college ball to professional ball? It seemed like you kind of jumped in right away with a really good season last year.
I would say the transition was it was awesome. I think college definitely helps. Just as far as like just day to day and how you kind of prepare yourself for a game. I would say there's definitely no way to prepare yourself for 140 games and every day. But just knowing that was going to happen and see my brother go through it, that just kind of helped, and just kind of leaned on him for that. And but it was amazing. Like soon as you get with the Twins, just like people knowing where you're from, and knowing your name right off the bat, it's just kind of like it just kind of speaks to their kind of almost like homey feel to the organization, and it's just a very good, well-rounded organization for sure.
Stay connected with the Cedar Rapids Kernels all year long by following the Kernels on social media. Catch up with the Kernels on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at CR Kernel.
We had Tanner Schobel on a couple episodes back. You can go listen to that episode of the Kernels All Year podcast, talking to Noah Cardenas here on it, season 3, episode 5. And he said something that was really cool, and you see it in this Kernels team right now, is it's pretty much a lot of the same guys that were together last season in Fort Myers. I mean, how cool is that then to now be up one level with kind of the same group of guys, and you guys can continue to all grow working on your final goal together as a group?
I think, yeah, that's a great point. I think a lot of the guys, especially the guys who were drafted last year, and the guys who were down in Fort Myers for the year with me last year it's just a great group of guys. You kind of get to know them, and how they kind of their pregame how they get ready for the game and just how they work and stuff. So it's nice having a lot of familiarity with the team and with certain guys. It's definitely been nice.
Besides the weather, and we've talked
Yes.
about a little bit how you're a California guy. The nights were
Yeah.
cold, although you compared it to Birmingham, Alabama. Although
Yeah.
Birmingham, Alabama is not as cold as it is in
Yeah.
Eastern
Yeah.
Iowa. But what are
Yeah.
some of the big differences between playing in the Florida State League and playing in the Midwest League, besides the fact that you're playing a different group of guys as you're up a level?
Yeah, I think honestly, there's a lot of similarities to the group of guys and the guys we play too. Because like for example, we just got done facing Peoria, and a lot of those guys like Teen Kents, Baker, just naming Alex Cornwell, like those starters are a lot of the same guys we faced down in Fort Myers, and some of the guys out of the pen as well. I just remember, just the scouting reports, and you see them 6 times a week, so you kind of almost after the first time you kind of like are like, hey, this is this guy, like you don't even need to know his jersey number. You kind of know who the guy is, and especially when you had a full season last year where you probably faced him uh say 6 to 8 at bats, you kind of have an idea of who they are. But no, it's just I think as you move up a level, the pitches are better. Pitchers are, got a little more bite, got a little more velocity, and yeah, I think there's definitely more challenges in Hyatt for sure.
I'm just generally curious about your thoughts on the 6-game series, something you don't play in college, but of course you play in the minor leagues. You played it last year in the Florida State League, but is that something you enjoy, seeing the same team 6 days in a row? You might see a couple pitchers more than one time in the series, or
Yeah.
do you like kind of the college style, major league style of 3 games next opponent?
I would say just for travel purposes, I like it, and also just the familiarity of knowing the pitchers is good too. I don't think it causes some huge like advantage towards anybody. So I think the setup of it is good just for travel and just kind of kind of getting your feet settled in a spot. When you're making like a 5 hour drive and playing that game. So and especially with the off days, like you want one off day a week, so you kind of want to balance that. And I think this 6 game schedule kind of balances good. And kind of when you're on a road trip, you kind of get to have your feet settled and kind of get a feel for the field and just kind of the atmosphere around it.
All right, we're wrapping up. I had a couple of questions
Yeah.
about some of the parts of the season. Then we're going to go through some rapid fire questions to get
Yeah.
to know Noah Cardenas. But I'll start with this one. What has been your favorite part of the season up to this point in the year here in mid-May?
Favorite part of the season. Uh, Favorite part of the season has been um favorite part of the season. Favorite part of the season. I would say I told my buddies that I wanted to play in snow, and it snowed in Beloit, and they just kept laughing because I got my wish, but I wasn't playing that day. So they were so upset because they're like, "We have to play in your wish and stuff." So I would say that was probably one of my favorite parts.
38 degrees, the lowest temperature the Kernels have played in a game in this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite part of playing in Cedar Rapids up to this point?
I would just say the people, the fans. I mean, just I feel like that stadium is kind of right on top of you, and the fans are just very aware and just kind of very loud. And I feel like just kind of every play has a reaction to it. And that kind of feel to it makes you kind of feel like you're playing on a big stage.
What has been your favorite ballpark to play in besides playing at home?
Yeah. Favorite ballpark. I would say South Bend was really nice.
All right,
Yeah.
yeah, very good ballpark feel
Yeah.
up there in South Bend. Okay, I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire, one answer questions. Okay?
Okay.
Favorite food?
In-N-Out Burger.
Never been. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite word?
Like.
Favorite subject in school growing up?
Math.
Favorite breakfast food?
Eggs.
Favorite dessert food?
Cookies and cream.
Favorite type of restaurant?
Lucille's.
What is one thing you were afraid of growing up?
Spiders.
Okay, and I want to end with this one. Okay. We're going on a road trip, okay?
Yeah.
And the bus driver is not available. What teammate would you trust the most to drive the bus the away game?
Oh my gosh. That's a great question. I would say probably Nicholas Rimmel.
Why?
Just because I know he's going to take it serious, and I think we have a pretty good chance of getting back safe.
He always takes shag and fly balls in the outfield very serious too.
Yes, he does. Yes, for sure. So I think he can flip a switch, and understand that we got to get back.
Nicholas Rimmel driving the bus.
I'm not falling asleep.
What's that?
I said I'm not falling asleep while he's driving.
We did have to drive through that big thunderstorm, almost tornado on the way back. So that was a tough drive.
God. Yeah,
coming back from South Bend. But there you have it. Nicholas Rimmel going to drive the bus. That is Cedar Rapids catcher Noah Cardenas on the Kernels All Air podcast. Noah, I know you're a very busy guy, especially on your off day. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Oh, absolutely, Calvin. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Noah. We will see you next time for episode 6 of season 3 on the Kernels All Air podcast.
Choosing Miracle Ear was a great decision. Like when I decided to host family movie nights. Miracle Ear made it easy. I just booked an appointment, and a certified hearing care professional evaluated my hearing loss and helped me find the right device calibrated to my unique hearing needs. Now I enjoy every moment. The quiet ones and the loud ones.
Your local Miracle Ear team is proud to support your Cedar Rapids Kernels. Enjoy the game.